Welcome to the Spark to Bonfire Equipping Insight, Your Simple Joys. I'm ready. You ready? Let's do this thing. So let's cut to the chase. Right off the bat, I'm going to give you the WIFM. So I'm like, the WIFM? What's the WIFM? Well, of course, the WIFM, W-I-I-F-M. It's the most popular radio station in the world. And it's also one of the most important things that you need to make sure people know about. And the WIFM is the What's in It for Me, W-I-I-F-M, What's in It for Me. So here's what's in it for you when it comes to simple joys. Now this may sound like a no-brainer, but people often miss this. You only have so much gas in your tank at any one time. And when you're pursuing life change, or you're building a brand, or you're building a business, or you're a content creators so much need to discover and utilize and make the most of their simple joys. But when you do any of those things, or any effort, any endeavor, you start draining your tank. But those things in particular, building a brand, building a business, pursuing life change, creating content, they can really drain your tank down. Now, when cars run out of gas, they simply stop. You ever driven a car that runs out of gas, it kind of cruises to the side of the road? And I know we're reaching a point in transition where pretty soon, there'll be no more gas cars, they'll all be electric cars, and your car will run out of battery, and it'll probably just kind of cruise to the side of the road the same way when the battery's dead. By the way, that reminds me of one of my favorite stories about an electric car. A gentleman, he did roadside assistance, and he got a notice that there was a car stuck on the side of the road in Death Valley. Not in summertime, but wintertime, still hot, but not too bad. And he needs to get gas out to them. And he pulls up and he notices with his tow truck, and he's got gas ready to give to them. He notices it's an electric car. He's kind of scratching his head like, what? And then as he gets closer, he notices that they've got gas cans. And what they have is they have gas cans that they carry along that had been run out, they were empty, that they fill a generator up, and then the generator charges the battery in their electric car, and that's how they drive long distances. I can think they kind of misunderstood the point of electric car, but that story cracked me up. So here's the thing you need to know about people. When a car runs out of gas, it stops. You cruise the side of the road and you're done. But when people run out of gas, they can keep going, and you can drain your tank below empty. Now, with doing this, pressing forward when your tank's empty and draining your tank below empty, I used to be notorious at doing this. It's a really bad idea. I have a lot of, some of my clients are content creators, and they do this, and it's something you do not want to do. There's at least two reasons why this is a bad idea. Number one, your productivity goes way, 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 way down. Sometimes when I'm doing writing and I'm writing scripts or writing for a book, and I just run out of gas, and I literally have to stop, because I can keep writing for another hour or two, but the content will be terrible. I won't get much done. It's better to put it aside and recharge my tank. So that's the first issue, is that your productivity goes way down. The second issue is that when you run your tank below empty, it takes much, much longer to recharge it. You work a good day's work, maybe a long day's work, and you're out of gas and you're tired, then you go to bed, it may take 7 or 8 hours to recharge your tank. But if you do what some content creators do, what some people do, they start working at 8 a.m. and they work all day, and they work till 10 p.m., but they still have more to do, and they're out of gas, but they keep going, and they go till the next morning. They go till 8 a.m. the next day, and they've put in a whole bunch of time. They put in a full 24 hours. They may actually get something done, but it took them way longer to get that last little bit of work done because they're working really slow. And then if you do that all day Monday, and you start Monday morning at 8 a.m. and you go till 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning, you're going to be out of commission. I've seen it time and time again with people. You're going to be at commission all day Tuesday, the rest of the day, all day Wednesday, and often through part of Thursday. So yeah, you got some extra work done, but it took you a lot longer to refill your tank. So do not run your tank below empty. When you're out of gas, pretend you're a car and stop. But Stephen, what about simple joys? You're going to tell us about simple joys. Here's what simple joys, here's why they are so amazing. They refill your tank. Now rest will refill your tank. Sleep will refill your tank, but so will simple joys. Some of you are saying, wait, rest and sleep, those are two different things? Yes. When you're asleep, you're unconscious. When you're resting, you're conscious. And sometimes the rest we need, we don't need sleep. And make sure you get plenty of sleep. It's actually way more important than people realize. You need sleep, but sometimes you also just need to, particularly if you're a content creator, you're pursuing life change, you're working hard to build a brand or build a business. I've said those things before, but I want you to hear this doing one of those things. Sometimes you need rest. You just need to put on a dumb TV show, or you need to get a good book, and you just kind of need to turn your brain off and give yourself a distraction. And you're conscious why this is happening. You're not out cold, you're not asleep, but you're actually going to rest, and rest will refill your tank. So rest refills your tank, sleep refills your tank, and so do simple joys. Now, there's one caveat to simple joys we're going to get to, and that is you have to actually really engage them peacefully, and we'll come back to that. So, what are simple joys? Simply put, simple joys are recreational activities that feed the soul that you are. When you engage in your simple joys, in those kind of recreational activities that feed the soul that you are, you find yourself feeling restored, refreshed, replenished. Now, there's 3 hallmarks of a simple joy. 1, you have easy access to it. It's something you can actually get access to. Number 2, it's something you can get access to on a regular basis. And number 3, it brings you real joy. You may say, oh, Stephen, I love sitting on a beach in the Caribbean watching the sunset with a really good cocktail. Yeah, me too. But that wouldn't qualify as a simple joy for most of us, because you need to be able to have easy access to it on a regular basis. And if I'm going to have easy access to that kind of experience on a regular basis, I'm going to have to move to the Caribbean. So I just walk out to my front porch and walk out to the beach, and there it is. So there's a lot of things that bring you joy, but I'm talking about things that you have easy access to and you have regular access to, and they got to bring you joy. So here's some examples from my own journey. I absolutely love going to movies. Movies, the right kind of movie for me, man, they so much feed the soul that I am. And for me, the right kind of movie is a movie where the good guys win and it's inspiring and good things happen. I love that. And for me, it's the whole experience. I've got some popcorn. I've got peanut M&Ms, I've got a Coke, and then the lights come down and the screen, and all of a sudden there's previews, and then the movie starts. I love that whole experience, and the good guys win in the end, and there was a victory, and that just leaves me feeling just amazing. So movies for me are simple joy. I'm going to tell you some of my simple joys, and then hopefully it'll spur you to think about, here's what are some simple joys for you, because you and I are different, and you probably won't have the same simple joys that I do, and that's very okay. Figure out what your simple joys are. That's why I'm telling you about mine. Another simple joy for me is reading certain kinds of recreational books. I call them enthralling books. They're mysteries or they're thrillers. Harry Bosch. I actually love Harry Bosch. He is a LA homicide detective on a mission. Michael Connelly writes the Harry Bosch books. I actually love Harry Bosch books. Jack Reacher by Lee Child. I love those books. I could go on and on. There's lots of series that I absolutely love. If you go to the Stephen Shomler website, I've got a page right at the top where it says enthralling books I love, and you can read a list of them and see descriptions and links where you can check them out and get more details about them. See what else comes to mind. Court Gentry, The Gray Man. I'm so excited. They're having a movie come out. I'm so excited for that. I love the Gray Man series. I love the Nowhere Man series. Evan Smoke, that's a fantastic series. Isaiah Coleridge by Laird Barron. Laird kind of seems like a crazy maniac, but Isaiah Coleridge, a lot of darkness in those books and a lot of philosophy and mythology, and he is someone that was thrown out of the mob and is trying to survive as an investigator. I love those stories. Those are really good. Van Shaw by Glenn Eric Hamilton. That's set in Seattle. I lived in Olympia years ago and spent time in Seattle often. And man, he just describes Seattle so perfectly. And Van Shaw, his dad, was a criminal, a big-time criminal, and he learned a lot from his dad, some good, some bad, and went to the military and got out. And now his dad's past kind of haunts him, and he always has amazing adventures. And one of my favorite series now that I found, newer for me, is, it's been around a long time, but I just discovered it. I went to Maine in the fall of 2021, a Culinary Treasure Network trip, creating content for the Culinary Treasure Network. Had an incredible time, fell in love with Maine, knew I'd love it, and fell in love with it. And Mike Bowditch is a fictional character, and he is a Maine game warden. And in Maine, the game wardens carry guns, and they arrest people, and they investigate crimes. And really good series there. And so like I said, I've gone on probably long enough about that, but I love reading those kind of stories because they have good characters and there's a good ending and the good guys win. And so maybe recreational reading, maybe that could be one of your simple joys. Another simple joy for me, I love a martini. I love having a nice gin martini. I put 3 olives in it and a really good gin. I'm not going to start naming gins. There's a lot of gins I like. But whether it's like on a Thursday or Tuesday evening at home and there's a nice meal and great conversation, I'm able to relax and really enjoy that martini. Or if I'm at dinner, and I'm a nice dinner and I like to begin that dinner, with a martini. Or I'm just at a dive bar and I have a bad martini at a dive bar. Maybe they don't have any good gin and it's not that, but it's still a martini for me. I don't know if it's that I like it. Feels like maybe James Bondish to me or like Frank Sinatra. I don't know, but a martini for me is a simple joy. And the last one of my simple joys that I'll mention, this one may sound funny to you, sound kind of corny, but I love a good turkey sandwich. Now there's a certain context and there's some details about this turkey sandwich I love, but when I'm creating content and I'm working and I'm engaged in the hunt and then I get hungry, I love to cook, but I don't want to take time when I'm really in the hunt and really creating content, writing or editing photos or editing video. I want to take a break for an hour and eat and cook. I want to just get something to eat and get right back to it. And for me, that's when I lean into my turkey sandwich. Now, I'm very specific. I've gone to all the delis in my neck of the woods, and Safeway has the best turkey for right now for me. And so they actually have it already pre-sliced, kind of squashed up, and they shove it into a bag, and it doesn't lay flat on my sandwich. So I have them cut it special for me, so it's all flat in the bag. And then I get some cracked wheat sourdough bread, and I toast it, put some mayonnaise, put the turkey down, some pickles, some hamburger dill pickles. Oh, it's a perfect sandwich for me. Sometimes I'll add tomatoes. Sometimes, this is just fantastic. I have the turkey, I have the mayonnaise, I have the bread, and then I'll put Mama Lil's peppers on that sandwich. If you've not had Mama Lil's peppers, oh my goodness, they're absolutely fantastic. And then I'll stop and I will actually lean into it and I will enjoy that sandwich. But it only takes me 3-4 minutes to make it, and then I'll stop and I'll spend 4 or 5 minutes right there at the table and just really enjoy that sandwich. And then boom, 10-15 minutes later, I'm right back to my desk, I'm back to work. But that is a simple joy that meets my need to eat and fills up my tank. Now my son Zach Shomler, he has a simple joy right now in his life. At the current chapter of his life that's happening right now when I'm filming this content is he lives in the west end of Waikiki neighborhood of Honolulu, and he walks around his neighborhood. He walks, visited him January of 2022, had an incredible visit with him. It was so much fun seeing Hawaii, seeing Honolulu, seeing Waikiki through his eyes. I mean, he knows we walk down here and there's these rocks, right on the ocean. Oh, cats live in the rocks. And I'm like, cats live in the rocks? And sure enough, there's cats that live in the rocks. Oh, and you walk down here and you see this, and you walk down there and see that. And on a regular basis, he heads out and walks around his neighborhood. And for him, that's a simple joy that he can access regularly, that he can easily get to. And he enjoys it. And often he'll sit and watch the sunset in Hawaii on Waikiki Beach. How cool is that? Now, that's not something I can access easily on a regular basis. Right now, this chapter in his life where he currently lives, that's something he can access on a regular basis. So I really want you to think about, what are your simple joys? Now, last thing I'll cover, I've kind of alluded to it, I've mentioned a little bit, but you really need to peacefully engage them. If you feel like, I don't have time for this, and it's like, that'd be like going to a movie and saying, I have time to watch half the movie and then getting up in the theater and leaving. No, you really need to lean into it. If you're gonna pick up a book and read it, if you're gonna watch a show, if you're gonna play a video game, and now some people, video games can be challenging. I've seen some people, younger people, they'll spend 8 hours playing video games. And if you spend 8 hours a day playing video games, it makes it hard to build a brand or build a business or pursue life change or create content. But if video games is one of the things that is your simple joy, don't just do it for 5 minutes, say, okay, that's it, I gotta stop. Actually take some time and enjoy it. Now there's some balance in there. Sometimes it's too much, but that kind of gets into whether or not it's something you're using to escape a life you don't like, or if you're just not very disciplined, or if it's something that brings joy and fills your tank. But make sure if it's a simple joy that you're using to fill your tank, you actually engage in it, you peacefully lean into it. And a lot of people are trying to get stuff done. They have these voices inside them that drive them that aren't helpful. Maybe they're lazy or they're not good enough or they don't deserve it, and that keeps them from really resting properly. You got to tackle that stuff. I'm telling you, you have to tackle that stuff. All right, we've come to the end of this video, just a little bit of coverage of what simple joys are. I highly, highly encourage you to take the time to figure out what your simple joys are and use them to regularly refill your tank.